What happened this weekend is the clearest sign yet that we are heading for war with China, but not in the way that we think. President James Madison famously said no nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. And oh boy, are we at war. Let that sink in a little bit while we drop a few news bombs on you today, because over the past 24 hours, the United States and the G7 nations just declared economic war on China and Russia. They did so very openly and blatantly. Yes, they did. And bullets are the last thing to fly. But make no mistake about it, this is economic war. This will have dramatic effects on you and your family. I'm going to go through exactly what happened on both the U.S. side and the Chinese side, because we had two diametrically opposed summits happening at the same time. The U.S. led the G7 summit, and the Chinese led the Asian summit. It was too amazing to watch, the tale of two economic summits and two very different plans. I'm going to go through this dramatic few days in a moment, but please first subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a bunch of big upcoming live streams on the economy as we navigate this crazy recession that we are heading into. I don't want you to miss those. Turn on the bell notification too, so you'll get that live alert when we do go live. Now, back to the economic war that we just declared. The G7 summit took place this weekend in Hiroshima, Japan. Now, if you're keeping track, this is one of two places that ever saw an atomic bomb dropped on it by the United States. It's really a metaphor if you think about it. Now, instead of dropping nukes on you, we're going to drop economic atomic bombs on China. China is quickly becoming the world's largest economy and dominant superpower, and the G7 leaders are terrified of this. Here's President Biden on the Great China Threat.
We're also united in our approach to the People's Republic of China. And the joint statement released yesterday outlines the shared principles we've all agreed at the G7 and beyond dealing with China.
They even brought their favorite little friend from Ukraine to Japan to make the pitch to stop Russia and their Chinese friend. Zelensky called the G7 to provide more weapons and money to stop Ukraine in order to stop the Russia-China alliance.
We dream of winning. We dream of peace after our victory. But for this to happen, not only this aggressor has to lose, the ambition of the war itself has to lose. And this is what is important for everyone in the world. I'm here in Hiroshima so that the world can hear the Ukrainian call for unity from here.
Almost the whole G7 focused on addressing China's alleged economic bullying, while China's Asian summit, on the other hand, focused on trade growth and economic expansion through a massive Belt and Road initiative. China specifically addressed the former Soviet territories to strengthen the ties in Central Asia. So it's all about trade growth and economic growth and infrastructure growth. Xi Jinping said that China and the Central Asian countries should deepen trust and offer clear and strong support on core interests such as sovereignty, independence, national dignity, and long-term development. That had to piss off the United States, which doesn't want other countries to be sovereign at all, and the United States loves to stick itself into those countries, and of course, China knows it. The G7 countries declared economic war on China during the summit, signing a joint declaration. They condemned China's economic practices, accusing it of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and state subsidies to gain a competitive advantage. The leaders emphasized the need to protect global supply chains from China's influence, and they urged stricter rules on state-owned enterprises and subsidies. It was all a way of saying, hey, we're just dropping a bomb on China, just like we did on Hiroshima. This bomb, though, could reverberate through your family as well, raising the cost for just about everything you buy, since everything we buy comes out of China or has some Chinese connection to it. And the G7 wagged their fingers and said there would be significant consequences for China if China is caught doing anything the West doesn't like economic spying. The West specifically mentioned spying on Western companies. This is something that the United States has been doing for years, but China, of course, is doing a much better job of it. And they also have a back door into the United States in a way that the United States does not have into China, and that comes through manufacturing. According to cybersecurity experts, Chinese software has been showing up inside of large American companies. It's happening every day, causing blackouts, slowdowns, intellectual property theft. Now, imagine a large company that has a portion of its computer system controlled by China. And then one day, China just flips a switch and lights out. And actually, like it or not, that's exactly what China did back in 2019 when we discovered something mysterious in some giant transformers that were about to be installed. They came from China. These were to be installed on America's energy grid. Well, guess what? According to reports, the Chinese built backdoor software capabilities that served no other purpose than to shut down or damage America's electrical grid. Listen to a cybersecurity expert who studied these transformers for years.
Where this electronics was installed, there was no data to steal. The only thing you could do was to either take over the control or damage or destroy that piece of equipment.
Yeah, they were inside the transformer. And as a result, President Trump signed an executive order forbidding any future purchasing of these vital systems from China or any other adversaries like Russia. The United States says China is continuing this kind of sabotage. And at the G7, leaders are warning that China, if they do this, will have massive consequences heaped upon it if they keep it up. And they will, by the way, because China is not going to stop. So what are the consequences exactly? Well, first, they call it bullying. So they're going to label China a bully. They said this. They literally said this. And then they will sanction the crap out of China. And they will threaten them militarily, which they're already doing with a massive buildup in weapons and troops and Navy ships near Taiwan and the South China Sea. But of course, this is awful for America because we just stopped manufacturing just about everything. We import it all from China. We wouldn't have this electrical grid transformer issue if we made them ourselves. But worst of all, for you and me, is the fact that the Asian summit reaffirmed its commitment to say goodbye to the US dollar, ditching the US dollar to settle payments, offloading treasury bonds, turning to the Chinese yuan as the center of power. Make no mistake, guys, this is war. Everything except the shooting has started against China. That's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about the sponsor for today's video, and this company is tied directly to the cybersecurity threat that is undermining the United States businesses right now. That company is called Cybeats Technology, and oh boy, if you want to make some money, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to show you. If you're not interested in making money, then okay, I get it, but seriously, pay attention. This company is a diamond in the rough. Now, I've already bought a lot of shares of this company, and I plan to hold it for the long term. Now, for me, this is not a short-term hold. So please pay attention because we are the only YouTube channel talking about this company. No other media right now are talking about this company. None that I could find. The only one that I could find is a research note from Gartner. They just published a research report on Cybeats saying they are the leader in this emerging space. They're the only one. And of course, Gartner is huge and amazing, and I love Gartner, but they're the only one talking about this company right now. So please pay attention. You're getting info before anyone else is getting this info. And we've been watching this company since before it went public. First of all, here's Cybeats' stock ticker on your screen. Okay, write this down. It's CYBCF. And right now, as of this recording, it's trading at 98 cents a share. Yes, under $1 per share. Now just wait a few months and see if this stock is still trading under $1. That's what I'm doing, is waiting to see how far this thing goes. Okay, let me explain why I'm so insanely bullish on this company. First, let's talk about what this company does that most people have no idea even exists. I had no idea until I started studying cybersecurity threats that the United States government is so concerned about this. We've seen a number of major cyber attacks on the grid, on the oil pipelines, and almost every major Fortune 500 company has to deal with cyber attacks daily. Yes, daily, on a daily basis. This company made itself invaluable because they help these companies protect themselves from these attacks. Here's how it works. So at a high level, Cybeats created an S-bomb studio. Now you're like, what the heck is an S-bomb? Oh, just wait, folks, just wait. Because every Fortune 500 company knows what an S-bomb is. And the US government is mandating that they have their S-bombs installed in their software. So they have no choice. These companies have to have an S-bomb, an S-B-O-M. Now, creating an S-bomb is easy. That's the simple part. But what Cybeats does is they manage them. So if you're a Fortune 500 company and the government is telling you that you must have this installed ASAP, you call up Cybeats and you have them help you get it up and running. So what is an S-bomb? I know, I buried the lead here. Okay, an S-bomb is a bill of materials for software. Think of it like food labeling, but for software. What is in my software that's running my whole company? Like, what is in this granola bar? There's honey, there's oats. What goes into it that I'm eating? The same thing with software. So where is this software coming from? Is it coming from China? Is it coming from Russia? Who made it? And an SBOM label actually labels it, certifies them. So imagine a jet engine having multiple pieces of software, but one of them is a Trojan horse from China. And you didn't know that, and America is at war with China, and suddenly all the jet engines just shut down, and China just turns them off. Or the Colonial Pipeline disaster. Remember when that happened? Because I do, and they were able to deactivate unknown software in the pipeline that runs all the way from the south of the United States all the way up the eastern seaboard. It had devastating effects to the United States oil infrastructure and economy. Guess what? They didn't have proper SBOM protocols in place. Now, Cybeats Technologies is starting to land all of these Fortune 500 clients because they have developed an SBOM Studio, which is a product that manages all of the SBOMs so that these Fortune 500 companies know where all of the software comes from and how to fix it in case of a problem. Right now, without SBOM management, companies face massive business risk if they fail to meet new SBOM-related regulatory requirements from the federal government. The U.S. Congress now mandates it for certain industries, and more is coming very, very soon. And what's amazing about Cybeats is the business model. Pay attention to this. They don't just set up the SBOM stuff with these Fortune 500 companies, and that's the end of it. No. They're software as a service. So they pay a yearly cost to Cybeats to manage all of this. It's nonstop revenue. They're gobbling up all of these Fortune 500 companies as clients, so it becomes almost impossible for anyone else in the space to step in. It's like Microsoft Windows. If every computer in your company is running Windows and it's managed by Microsoft, how is a competitor ever going to come in and convince you to switch out all of your computers to another operating system? The answer is it's not going to happen. Another reason I'm so bullish is that 75% of all of the organizations that have completed a pilot or a trial evaluation have moved on to sign commercial license agreements with Cybeats. 75%. That means 3 out of 4 companies that try their demo then convert to a paying customer. That's crazy. And Cybeats is the only pure play SBOM company in the world right now. The only one. Making SBOMs, of course, is the easy part, but managing them is the insanely hard part, and they've cracked that nut. The executive team at Cybeats is another reason I'm so bullish. You've probably never heard of Nicholas Chalin, but he was the first U.S. Air Force Chief Software Officer and a cybersecurity genius. He worked for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security as a chief architect for cyber.gov. And there's more where that came from. Chuck Brooks is a cybersecurity legend, but don't take it from me. LinkedIn named him as one of the top 5 tech people to follow on LinkedIn. He was named by Thomson Reuters as the top 50 global influencer in risk and compliance. Oh, and you guessed it, he's also on the board of Cybeats. And finally, 60% of the outstanding common shares are held by their parent company, meaning a very low supply of stock is available to be sold and bought up by retail investors like you and me. They are holding these shares for the long term, so they fully build out the potential of this company. And that's why I'm holding my shares for the long term as well. Again, to me, this is a long-term play, but you do what you want. You can buy them and sell them tomorrow if you want, but I'm holding them for the long term. Can I give you one more amazing piece of research here? Cybeats Technology currently trades at a market cap of $80 million, whereas ChainGuard, which is here in the middle of your screen, they are a pre-revenue company with a beta stage software SBOM product. They don't even have one on the market yet. It's in beta stage. They're addressing the same cybersecurity issue that we've been talking about here. They have a $250 million market cap with a beta product. So just wait until the media starts covering Cybeats. This is truly a diamond in the rough. Guys, I'm giving you this research. Go out and do your own due diligence on this company. Again, right now, as of this recording, 98 cents a share is what Cybeats is trading at. You have to use one of the bigger brokers to trade this stock. You can't do it on Robinhood or one of the smaller ones. I personally use E-Trade to buy my shares of this company. Again, here is their stock ticker on your screen. So go out and do your own research and watch this space closely. As Warren Buffett just said, legendary investor Warren Buffett just said that he thinks cybersecurity is a greater threat to humanity than nuclear war. Yes, cybersecurity. So this space is going to explode with a lot of interesting things happening over the next few years. So keep your eye on this space, and we'll see you next time, everyone.